Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Good evening, folks. Alien Addict here. So, some of you saw my interview with Osvaldo Franco, and the ones that watched it, you loved it. So, I thank you for the thumbs up there. Get thumbs up for this one as well. I wanted to get the guy back on again. So, we actually did an interview the other day, and it recorded with no sound. But we've been talking. We've become good mates. So, I got him on again today, and we thought we'd do an interview about the new documentary that's going to come on the History Channel from To the Stars Academy, Unidentified. Osvaldo's got lots of info on that, and we also discuss some other things. We even go into Bob Lazar territory. But yeah, without further ado, I'll let you watch the interview. Osvaldo Franco, welcome back to the channel. How you doing, fella?
I'm doing great, man. Doing really good.
So, we've already discussed briefly what we're going to talk about tonight, and that's Unidentified, the TV series that's coming out. What date?
We have a hard date of May 31st, 2019.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about this. Only I don't have the History Channel, so I'm just going to have to get that sorted. But it's. Are we going to have something great to look forward to, Osvaldo? Are you convinced that it's not just going to be...
Yeah, I'm totally convinced that this is going to be an enormous event for us in ufology. I think this is going to be what we've been waiting for a very, very long time.
I hope so.
Or at least the beginnings of... Or maybe a little bit more than the beginnings of something enormous for us.
So why, if my thoughts are, if it's going to be the beginning of something, why is it not going to hit just mainstream media on the news than a documentary channel?
Well, this is the thing. History Channel has a precedent for doing this. The History Channel is the world's primary source for UFO information, other than maybe perhaps YouTube as a whole. And not everybody has YouTube. Believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Like, I guess older folks. But they are also. There's going to be a media blitz accompanying it as well. There's a bunch of ufologists that are talking about how big media is actually trying to schedule interviews with them and things like that. So this is going to be. It's not just going to be like a drop in the bucket without any pomp or anything like that. This is going to be a big rollout. This is not going to be. It's going to be a lot bigger than the previous 3 videos.
Okay.
That were released.
So one thing that what people are wanting to see from this, they want to see more UFO footage, and also I think there's a small minority that know about the Adam Project, and they want to see what they have and how they got it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think?
Well, that's basically that's all a part of this. Like, they're doing 6 episodes, not 5, like we thought before. And honestly, the stuff that they're about to drop looks like it's going to take them 6 episodes to like slowly walk, the general public around in this and get them to realize that this is all very too real, and and just how fascinating it is.
Okay, so where do you want to start? Should we start with the Adam Project?
Oh yeah, well they're going to they're going to be showing examples of recovered materials that can be proven not to be of earthly origins, and also some of these will include implants recovered from abductions. So they will be telling us about abductions.
Right.
And it seems that they might be also talking about the genetic component to abductions. Like there's like something about people that have these frequent experiences, like something in their DNA that's a bit different than the rest of the general populations. And this is why it seems they're having these types of contacts, whereas other people aren't.
Yeah, I heard about the is it rhesus negative? That's what my mother is, by the way. That apparently they get. I think I told you that last time when me and you were just having a chat about my mother being rhesus negative, and the story that I'll go into another day. But the I've heard something to do with that blood type that.
There's a lot of interesting things with different populations and again different mutations in these populations. Apparently, according to people that know about this, it's a mutation that occurs. It can occur in both men and women. It's not a type of thing that can be passed on just through mothers or fathers. Like say, if you're bald, you got the baldness gene from your mom. It doesn't transfer from man to man. From father to son like that.
Yeah.
But this seems to go both. For both, they are basically. There's a lot. It's very complicated to talk about, and I think it's going to be controversial. Basically, there's a small group of people in the population that's having UFO experiences, and their DNA is different than regular folks, and that could mean a lot of different things. That could mean that this is something that has to do with maybe certain populations have descended from smaller groups that have this, or perhaps genetic engineering has occurred in abductions. Perhaps.
So this is one of the subjects that To the Stars Academy is going to touch on.
Oh yes, yeah. There's a group of people, and they've started release. Have you seen the other History Channel program recently called Project Blue Book?
Yeah, the TV series. I've watched it all.
Yes. They introduced the concept of antennas.
It's not accurate, though.
No, it's not accurate, but
entertaining.
There's facts. Yeah, it's entertainment, but there's facts in it. There's more facts in it than, say, in an episode of Star Trek. But still, it's science fiction. However, one of the important, pertinent facts that was released in the show is the concept of antennas. That there are people that have a mutation which basically causes a part of their brain to grow these extra fibers. And these fibers somehow, and most people don't have them, these extra fibers allow people to pick up on certain telepathic communications. Yeah, I know how that sounds. But yeah, for lack of a better word. And somehow connects them more directly with these beings operating these craft than John Q. Public.
Right.
Which explains a lot. Why don't they go up and abduct the president? Maybe they have no business with him. Maybe they can't.
Well, you never know. They might have a UFO blocker that just
but
stops them.
It's entirely a possibility where, there could be a genetic component, they could be physically, maybe there's a reason preventing them from contacting regular folks directly, or all that much.
Well, there's a lot of us as well, and I mean, how many of them are there?
This is a small part of the population. This isn't it's as small as a number of people getting abducted. It's more than you think, but it's still not a huge amount of people.
Yeah. So, what about some of the bigger stuff that they've got? So that's the implants, but I've seen some images that you've sent me of these really weird, and I watched that documentary that you sent me with that. It almost looks like some sort of honeycomb thing, like a pine cone.
Yeah.
Is that something that they have?
Yeah. The things that are things like it.
Do they actually have that?
Yeah, there's a stand. That's basically what these implants look like. I mean, you put them under a scanning electron microscope, and
No. Sorry, mate. I'm talking about the big thing that guy found when he was out in his missus in the car.
Yes. The spike shaped.
Yeah. Do they have that?
Projectile. Yeah, they do. They've been studying that actually.
Okay.
In fact, it appears there is a shot in one of the recent Q&As with Luis Elizondo. They actually show a group shot of the different samples that they have, and it's actually up there.
Well, they've cut into it.
Yeah. Well, they cut into it years ago.
Yeah, I saw that in the documentary.
Yeah, but the pieces are accounted for. The original gentleman that found this thing, unfortunately, he's passed away not that long ago. He was an elderly guy. But luckily, the sample is in secure hands and with TTSA.
It's so weird looking. I will leave a link for that documentary you sent me. What's it called? What did they named it? Something weird.
I forget the name of the artifact offhand. It's somewhat well known in ufology circles. It's this thing that would come and go every couple of years, But you know how it is. Like,
it was the first time I've never seen it before. So, but
really, yeah. Well, no. This is more. This is, like I said, it's something that comes and goes, or would. There would be little bits of breakthroughs involving it, but then, like anything with UFOs, one step forward, two steps back. People were in a money, research couldn't get done that should have been done. Things kind of stalled out, and then TTSA comes through like Superman and makes it all go away.
So these are the main bits that they've got. They've got implants and they've got this big piece. Have they got any other?
Oh no, they have many pieces. It's not just the one shard. I guess the shard, because it looks like a shard. But they have quite.
It looks living. It looks natural.
Yes, doesn't it? It looks like it's scaly. It looks like it
armadillo.
Pardon? It
looks like an armadillo.
Yeah, no, or it could have fallen off of Godzilla's back or something.
Yeah, Godzilla's tail. It's a bit. You mentioned something about pieces that had come off crashed UFOs to me.
Yeah, well, that's Hal Puthoff insinuates that some of these things might have been. He says the word knocked off. Well, like how do you do? Like sometimes somebody took a shot at it.
Well, if you're driving too fast in your car and you hit your wind mirror, it comes off. Maybe it could be.
No. Some of these things could be accidental. Like a license plate fell off, or a wing nut, or the equivalent thereof of the muffler.
See, that bit I don't buy, because I think if they travel all that distance, they're gonna be hard as hell. They're not just gonna take a little bit of a knock and the windscreen wiper falls off.
Well, yeah. Well, this is the thing. There's been rumors that some of these things are samples, so they're just left. Like, for instance, the shard was a projectile. It was actually launched from a UFO that was observed.
That's what the guy said. It came down.
Yeah, and also in Rendlesham Forest, also apparently certain types of technologies. Some, and this sounds odd, encased in a type of plastic, were actually recovered from that whole situation.
Okay, yeah.
Now, what happened to that, I don't know. Probably, it's in some box in some U.S. government office somewhere, or it's being studied somewhere.
Well, I can see why an alien race might use something like plastic. It's quite useful, It's good at keeping things sealed.
And there's also talk about, like, even Roswell spoke about, like, there were people that were Roswell said that some of these bits look like plastic, or I would call it plastic, except we didn't have plastic. And this is like back in 1947. Everything was wood, for the most part, wood and metal. That's it. So that's that's not impossible. In fact, that if those things all happened, and I believe they did.
When was plastic invented? 1 minute.
I'm not certain, but it wasn't like it wasn't in wide use.
When was plastic invented?
1947.
1907.
1907.
From Wikipedia. The first plastic.
But when was it popularly? When was it used popularly?
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It wasn't until Tupperware. that's what.
Yeah, exactly, dude. People like, what is it, the 50s when you start really seeing
Yeah.
Like things like that, and like saran wrap.
Yeah, before that it was all the stuff from the rubber tree plant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
No, they have rubber, but
Yes.
rubber's.
So these pieces that have fallen off, you say you think they could have just been purposely left?
Yeah, I think completely. I think that. Listen, I would like in some cases UFOs crash and they actually come in and they do their own like rescue missions and they grab stuff and materials back, but sometimes they don't, and I think that's done deliberately. If there's something that we really should not have, they probably grab it up quick. If there's something that it's kind of innocuous, it's not a big deal, they'll probably just let us play with it.
It's a bit like with children, isn't it? You've got
Yes.
a toy they shouldn't have, and they fit, and you think, you know what? Maybe he's all right with that car. Yeah, well, he'll have that car. He's not going to eat the wheel. Just
exactly.
give him the car. My little boy keeps trying to get my little Tesla. He's not having it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I bought 2 of them. One's still in the box.
I'm a collector, dude. You have to that's something nice like that. Always have one to play with and one to save.
So that's Adam Project, yeah. So you think they're going to come out with these pieces, but how in depth are they going to get with them?
Oh no, the analysis, they've already done analysis, like detailed analysis. This is going to be. This isn't like It's not going to be old school ufology where they announce they have something but they don't have any research.
See, this is the thing. I don't know if we're just going to get a load of images and go, this is it, this is it, this is it, and it looks really. Look at it, it's fantastic. What I want to know is what it's made out of.
Analysis. They're gonna. They've already started. Like if you go to the To the Stars Academy website, they have detailed information about some of these materials. Hal Puthoff has done lectures about them, and so has Jacques Vallée. So we actually do know quite a bit about them. Now it's just not in a way that I think has been packaged to the public, and in a digestible format where somehow we have metamaterials from an unknown origin and seem to be off-world, sort of gets lost in fake videos and stuff like that. These are facts that are there if you know where to look.
Osvaldo, can you kind of just step slightly backwards there when you said metamaterials? Yeah, can you explain to me and to others what that it actually is?
Okay,
you've explained it to me, but I want you to explain it well.
Okay, metamaterials they're a type of nanotechnology. Basically, they're these tiny little lattice structures that are designed in such a way that they can produce certain unusual, even in some cases, thought to be impossible physical effects, but they're capable of doing them all the same. This is it's like a new, it's almost like we've invented alchemy. Really, we are at the precipice of doing some amazing things with these little materials that are assembled with 3D printers, basically. And these things have the ability to do strange things with light, with electricity, and apparently even gravity. And and basically this is going to be borne out in this miniseries.
When you say with gravity, does that mean it can make a craft lighter than it actually looks? If you get what I mean by that.
Yes, I mean that this thing, they call it positive lift, anti-gravity, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's anti-fall. So basically, instead of things falling down, things float up.
Okay, so that takes what you've just said there. For me, I mean, stop me if I'm wrong there, but that kind of blows some of Lazar's stuff out of the water.
No, yes, this is the thing.
Because he says element 115, and
this is very different than 115. And like I was raised on Bob Lazar. Most of us
Yeah.
were raised on the story of Bob Lazar.
I think it's me. I love it. I think.
Yeah, and once you poke that story with a stick, one of the first things that comes out of that story is element 115, that whole component. Basically, yeah, this is very, very different. But I'm thinking that I'm wondering now. Like I said, I basically have been trying to make myself an expert in metamaterials, as best as I can with the information I've been getting. And I'm already an expert in ufology, so I try to put those things together. I'm wondering, because they seem that they might have similar functions, could the resonators at the bottom of the craft that Bob Lazar worked on, could those be constructed out of metamaterials? And also, like, I'm wondering, is the outside of the sports model, is that also assembled out of metamaterials as well? It doesn't necessarily have to be like one or the other, but I would like to get more of an explanation about that. I'd love to get in touch with Bob Lazar and ask him about metamaterials.
I've got his number. If you want, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do. Because that's the thing. Bob Lazar also had a hand in the development of aerogels, which are also like this weird material science. And once again, ufology, like for the longest time, there's like these weird material sciences coming out of this study. So like he would probably know. I would be surprised if he doesn't know a lot about metamaterials.
Tom DeLonge's met Bob Lazar, hasn't he?
Oh, Tom DeLonge is publishing his book, like the autobiography of Bob Lazar.
My interest here with this is whatever To the Stars Academy comes out with, will it go against what Bob Lazar is saying? I'm not saying that I don't not believe Bob Lazar, because I think
I'm wondering if is it going to go against it, or is this just another like area of detail that's going to be superimposed, on it? Is this going to go against this completely, or is this going to actually attach like Lego? And
I like that.
And
I like Lego.
Because you can take one thing and add it to another, and you got something new and bigger, and maybe that's what we're getting.
I just while we're on the subject of Lego, there you go. Look at that little beauty.
Wow, that's a nice lemon.
Yeah, well, I've got the whole thing, but I'm not.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that set.
Yeah. I would love to see Tom DeLonge with Bob Lazar. Do you know what I mean? Have these sort of conversations.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see.
That's probably gonna happen. I mean, Bob Lazar, Tom DeLonge has the rights to the book. The book is written. There's photos of the cover of the said book, and it looks like it was on display somewhere. Perhaps it's at the To the Stars Academy store, or perhaps it was at a book publishers convention or something. It looks like it's in a case.
Why is Bob Lazar not working with Tom DeLonge?
He is. To the Stars Academy is publishing his autobiography.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean?
He seems to be working a lot with Corbell at the moment. At the same time, though, Corbell and DeLonge are also associates of sorts. They're definitely working on this to get they're working together.
I can see Jeremy doing a really good documentary. I'll be surprised. I'm surprised that he hasn't had his hands in this unidentified. I think
who knows? Who knows? Because this is the thing. The book was written already before these films came out. With the film with Bob Lazar, Flying Saucers, the one that Corbell did. Which is, they're just odd to me as well. And it's also interesting that Corbell was actually this guy who originally broke the story of the Nimitz UFO and Go Fast and stuff, but somehow To the Stars Academy went ahead and took position, on that.
Yeah.
So that's a very, again, this is some of this is very odd. But then again, like, you know, there's a lot of agreements going on, and we're not privy to everything, and that's how, you know, odd.
Let's cut the bullshit, Osvaldo. A lot of it is to do with the money, innit?
Yeah, it can be. There's money. Also, there's like certain probably intelligence agreements. You know, like they want something out, but not quite yet, for some reason or another.
Because
or they need clearance.
For me, Bob Lazar, yeah, if dare I say, if Tom DeLonge believes him, yeah, or I will say Lou, because I
he
think
says 100% he's telling the truth.
Yeah, no, I believe the guy, but what I'm saying is, as if I was Tom DeLonge, I would be like, Bob, I need you. Come on, Bob. Come on. Do you know what I mean? I'd want that guy on my team.
He did do that, I would imagine. That's how the book came out. I think we're going to find out a lot more as we find out more stuff. Like, Bob Lazar definitely has a role in this TTSA thing. You know, if it's more than just the book, I don't know. And there could be some very interesting things in the book. I've heard that there's rumors that Lazar talks about some other stuff that he didn't speak about beforehand. So, and it's very interesting because TTSA also has a lot of people that have worked in like intelligence circles in the military. And it's odd, you know, because like apparently they don't. They're supposedly the military doesn't like Bob Lazar very much. It's odd
don't know why.
that he would be. But
I have no idea why they wouldn't like.
And they're such a nice guy.
I'd like to have a whiskey with him.
Oh, I would love to, dude. Oh yeah, man.
He looks like a whiskey drinker. I think.
Yeah, Jack Daniels, and we'll go shoot Uzis.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've never. Stop me if I'm wrong again. I'll say that, but I've never heard Bob Lazar talk about metamaterials.
Not at all. That's the thing. He hasn't spoken about anything like that.
And you would have thought he would have done.
Yeah, I don't know. Like unless there's some type of agreement. Like, because remember, he said that he spoke about certain things and not others, and this could have been one of those things that he couldn't discuss.
Either that, or he didn't know what he was looking at.
Yeah, that too. He could have also not known what it was. You know, there was a lot of that going on in those research projects allegedly as well. A lot of like, huh? You know, like, you know, guys with IQs of 180 scratching their heads, you know, and kicking the saucer.
Or to put another one out there, he was working on a completely different craft.
Perhaps. Absolutely.
From a different species.
Yes, of course.
Either that, he's full of shit.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, take your pick.
No, that's sacrilege.
Yeah, no, I tend to believe Bob. Do we know everything that Bob knows? No, and I don't suspect we will. But I do believe the gist. You know, that's basically the up and the down. I
showed my mum and dad that documentary, and like my dad from the beginning when I put it on, because my dad I've told you about my dad's UFO story. My dad said this guy's full of shit. He's full of shit, and all the way through the first 10 minutes. And he thought, what's the narrator called? Mickey Rourke. He thought that was Bob Lazar to start off with. It's like, he's all acting. I says, Dad, it's not started yet. But then, as it went into it, he's like, I said, do you believe him then, Dad? He says, I believed he worked at Area 51. That's all I'll say. And then my mum said, well, he seems like a very genuine chap to me. Very handsome as well. Oh dear. Yeah, I believe Bob.
Yeah, I think so. It's a weird, lame thing to make up, you know, and then not to try to make money off of it. Like, it's just a bizarre, like why would anybody do this?
Yeah. So we do this all the time. We've gone off track, but we haven't. At the same time, we've stayed on what it's to do with. So we're going to see what the Adam Project is about. But how are we going to get more footage?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is the rumor. There's supposed to be... Now, okay, check this out. This is incredible. Apparently, TTSA has figured out that not only... But we know that there's different types of UFOs, and they're different sizes. But they might have actually figured out their purposes and classifications as well. What they're used for and why.
Okay.
There's a... Apparently, and this is crazy... I did not know this. And I know everything. I did not know this. There is apparently they have footage of these basically like square or door-shaped UFOs that have like these...
What, like the one from 2001 Space Odyssey?
Sort of, yeah. But they have these weird white... like sphere-shaped force fields around them, or disc-shaped.
I thought you were going to say white handles then.
No,
doors.
No. And what they're doing is they're calling them scouts. Now, I'm assuming that means that those are the ones that take first position for whatever reason.
Well, that's. So how big we're talking? And if you don't know, that's fine.
Well, they're smaller than the Tic Tacs, and the Tic Tacs are about the size of a bus. So
that's a big Tic Tac.
Yeah, I'm not certain, but like I know that they're smaller than the Tic Tacs. So I don't know if it's like it's like apparently they say the rumor is like
so they're unmanned, yeah.
Motherships drop out the discs. The discs drop the Tic Tacs, and then the Tic Tacs drop something else.
So they're a bit like a Russian doll.
Yes, yeah, exactly. They're basically like, and it's kind of like, we're also developing craft like this. We have jets that have smaller drones inside of them, and again, like I'm starting to think that we have patterned our drone program off of theirs, and having observed it. And apparently it's a good idea, and such a good idea, and works so well that we're, going to do it too.
So you think we're going to see these doors?
Yeah, there's footage, there's video, and apparently it's good video too. It's not like this. Again, if they can determine that this is something that's shaped like a door or a square, and it's inside a field. And that and it's not just like, a blurry image of a field, and that must be, the footage must be good.
Because you were right about the Tic Tac. Not many people know this, but you were telling me about the Tic Tac UFO before. Was it about 2 months before it came out?
Yeah, a little bit more. People had heard about it, but for a while. But
so where did you get this information from?
Oh my God, piecing things together. Constantly piecing things together, constantly doing research. There's so much stuff that's actually been put out that people like lose track of, certain information. If certain things don't make any sense at first, you put it out of your head, and then you don't tend to go back after you have new information. Like, for instance, what I would say is, if anybody that did not like, say, the Joe Rogan Tom DeLonge interview that they did, and you thought that Tom didn't do a very good job, I would say study this information that's coming out about what's going on in TTSA, metamaterials, things like that, and then go back and watch it again.
I loved the interview. I thought it was entertaining. The only thing I didn't like was the triangle UFO that he put out, and then the
that was the most I wish he hadn't done that.
Yeah. So why has he put it in the new advertisement that he put out on YouTube? The new when he said something like, "This is to the Stars Academy," and you see a clip of it.
Listen, then I'm going to say this: Tom DeLonge is not going to be perpetrating a fraud like that. I don't listen, either there's something with that footage that we don't know about, and that can be proven, or perhaps that's just like, stock footage for the sake of like, putting something that looks visually nice. But I'm pretty sure that they would like, they'd be pretty open about it. I would like to ask him.
Well, that's the thing. That's. I find it so interesting that last video that they put out, there was this little tiny clip of that triangle UFO that he got so much backlash off, and he used it again. So it's either like he's turned around and gone, whatever, or I'm sticking to my guns, or it's something that he's just using it as an example of how this thing works. So yeah, it is CGI, but it's exactly how they work. Because I think it's definitely CGI.
Yeah, it looks off to me.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of off.
But I'm just curious as to know why why would you use it again? Why would you?
There must be there's probably an answer. I'm hoping that they include that in one of these explanations, in one of these episodes. And if not, I'm hoping somebody catches a Lozano or a Delonge at a Q&A and brings this up.
Okay, will you ask them if you see them?
Absolutely, dude. Amongst many things. Oh my God! Let's just stop gushing.
You mentioned so Lou. He seems to have taken front seat.
Well, yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like, you have Tom DeLonge saying these things as a rock star is still a rock star.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It could come off he could look like Kanye. With some weird, except like his beliefs that sound crazy aren't. It has more gravitas when a DIA department head tells you that this is real. I ran this project.
Yeah, Lou can definitely talk.
Yeah, no, and he's doing a
fantastic
fantastic
job. He's a good talker.
A really great job. Lou Alessandro's doing.
There's a lot of people that don't like him. I don't get why.
They jealousy. I'm telling you, this is the most petty field. People are upset that they're not the chosen one. There's other people that think that just because you've been sitting on your ass in this field for 20 plus years, that somehow you're ahead of other people that may have gotten in a few years ago. But I'll tell you, if Lou Elizondo only spent 5 years studying UFOs at the government level, that puts him well ahead of anybody in ufology and open mainstream ufology. Well ahead, And there's people that just, it's petty nonsense. I'm glad that these things are coming out. I hope that, listen, these 6 episodes work out. And we have all the things that have been promised us by TTSA. And so far, Tom has given his word and followed through with everything. This happens. Tom DeLonge is the greatest ufologist in history. And anybody saying less than that is just hating and should just be, removed, from the discussion because they are crazy. And they're not they're not helping us with that. We have more concrete stuff and we can move on.
I think what a lot of people was kind of concerned about is that it went quiet, but now it's building up to it again. Even though it's not really a big build up, but
we still have a month.
But people have got high expectations on this, me and you included.
Oh yeah. No, this is gonna listen.
So they need to deliver.
Pardon?
It needs to deliver.
Oh yeah, it absolutely has to deliver. Fingers crossed. But once it's done, ufology has to really consciously decide to ignore these anti-TTSA people
Well, this is what I want.
Haters,
It needs.
haters.
Yeah, it needs to be. I would love for people just to watch this and then they're like, bastard. Do you know?
Yeah.
Shit the bed. I'm gonna have to go back on everything I've just been saying. That would be fantastic.
That includes in the research in the ufological research community.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that we need to like discard. We have more garbage than good, and that's been our problem for forever. I mean, now that we have more good than garbage.
Yeah, you might not know this, or you might do if you've sift through some of the comments that I get on my channel. But there's a lot of hate out there. People hating at me for supporting To the Stars Academy, and I'm like, well, do you know? I just why don't you just see where it goes? Why don't you just sit back? If they are a bunch of fraudsters or whatever, at some point it's going to expose. Exactly. So why don't we just go with the flow? What's the worst that can happen? Unless it's going to be Project Bluebeam.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, exactly. And honestly, these ideas, they don't hold any water. That TTSA is a scam. So Tom DeLonge got the chief engineer from Lockheed Martin, a DoD Defense Department head, high-ranking guys from the CIA, a theoretical physicist of historic proportions, and they all got together, and and to pull a scam.
Yeah.
To pull a scam for what? Like they didn't have enough hookers and cocaine in their lives, so they decided to.
Exactly, it doesn't add up. I mean.
Yeah.
It is.
Listen,
it's so bizarre. If you think.
It's weird because, like, if anything, we should be used to in ufologies of people pulling scams. This does not feel like it at all. This is not how that goes down. I've seen when people have, try to raise money to build landing pads for the UFOs and shit.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous nonsense.
Speaking about raising money, did you see? I think I briefly talked to you about this on the private conversation, but did you see my last video about Dr. Greer and Tom DeLonge? And then I just think it's so weird that Tom does that video, and then a few days later, Greer brings. It could be just coincidence, but Greer brings his video out.
No, honestly, Dr. Greer. Listen, I think some people in ufology have a wait-and-see approach. Not because they're hoping that To the Stars Academy will succeed. They're hoping that it will fail, and then they'll be able to say, see, they're a bunch of liars, and then those people will go back to the top of the heap. I think Greer is trying to remain relevant and sit in a field that, he has dominated for decades, basically, and looking like it's about to pass him by.
Did you watch the Secure Team 10 documentary with Dr. Greer?
No, I try not to watch Secure Team 10 products.
Oh, okay. It was interesting because he asked him the question what he thought about Tom DeLonge, and Dr. Greer said he thinks he's being used.
Yeah. And Tom has said, no, he's not, in response to that. Can he be being used? Sure. It doesn't mean he doesn't have what he's got. Doesn't mean like what's going down isn't going to be what's going down, because apparently, it is.
But if he's being used, is that not worrying?
Well, listen, I want this information out. I think we will all be in a much better situation once that information is out. Now, if some of it, could it be false information or misinformation or just plain errors? Sure. But we can figure that out. We can figure that out once we have this information. And without this information, we can't figure it out. And we're just, a group of blind men touching the elephant.
Yeah, I mean, if it all came out to be and there was hard evidence that it was all bullshit, I'd be one of the first just to do a complete 180, you know, and I'd expose it. But at the minute, I am just saying to people, hang fire. Let's just see what the next 2 years, 2-3, bring.
Yeah. Not even that, about May 31st, and they're like, in that next 6 weeks.
Yeah, but let's be honest, the next 6 weeks is just the start.
Oh, yeah. No, there's going to be, there's talks about the fact that there's a political component regarding this, including Harry Reid, who was, who, those of you who are not American would not probably recognize him, but he was the head of the Senate in the United States for many, many years. Very, very powerful guy in Washington, who also, incidentally, was a representative of Nevada.
Wow.
Yeah, so, yeah, he's from Area 51 country, so, you know, he has, his constituents are interested, and so is he.
That's interesting, to say the least.
No, dude, it's who it would be. It's who it would be. Like, if you notice, who goes out, like the other guy that in American politics, Bill Richardson, who was governor of New Mexico, and was also the U.S. ambassador to the UN for years, and was almost like was in talks to do a presidential run, but it didn't work out. But he also is a good friend of ufology and has helped people do research, try to get documentations. He's definitely a friend. You know, like people like him, John McCain, who's passed away, also helped a great deal of especially John McCain. John McCain did a lot for people that were struggling with like weird issues with the military and UFOs. In fact, he was the guy that they were trying to deny certain rights and medical access to the Rendlesham Forest survivors, and he was the guy that got it, who forced the government to take care of these guys. Like, that in itself would make a great movie.
I was born around the Rendlesham Forest landing. 1981 to December.
Oh, they just dropped you off.
I'm convinced, yeah. Absolutely convinced. So, it's exciting. I just think people, I'll say it again, people just need to hang fire and see what happens with it. But
yeah, we're getting close. But at the same time, especially if there is a political component to this, we as a UFO community, a ufological community, we need to start becoming activists. We need to start, we can't just let, you know, this drop in the bucket and you know, and then go about, you know, doing things. Like I have it here somewhere. I found my old protest sign from when I was a boy. When I was a boy, it was like maybe 13, I would go to the UN, which is downtown from where we live, and we would have UFO protests, and I would walk around with this sign, you know, UFOs are real and the government knows it, and stuff, and we'd walk in circles and we would march. We didn't get a lot done, but we didn't have the things that we're about to have now. And
did anybody ever approach you?
No, well, yeah, but not from like the military. You know, I met other people in ufology, and that led to other adventures. Actually, as a result of going to some of those protests.
Well, you were telling me last time that you've got a bit of a name for yourself in New York.
Oh yeah, I've been involved in ufology since the 90s. Since I was very, very young. I've been on TV a bunch of times. I was a subject of an MTV.
Just to quickly let the viewers know that we are going to do a video of your first sighting, aren't we?
Oh yes, we are. We're going to be doing that and probably a couple of other things. Very interesting. Like I said, I've basically lived my life in this movement, without exaggeration or hyperbole.
And this whole.
Pardon?
Sorry, go on. What are you going to say?
Yeah, like I've basically seen everything that's happened in this field since I was 7.
And this is the blink of hope for you, isn't it?
This is so much like, I knew this would be coming out at some point. It had to, but I thought I would be much older. I had long since, I remember being a kid, and there was, there's a ufologist, a Japanese-American ufologist by the last name of Hayakawa. And George Hayakawa, and he used to give these lectures, like, "Will you still be alive in 1995?" And he would, that was his thing. And he would go to MUFON, and he'd give these lectures, and he'd talk about how disclosure was like seconds away, basically. And I believed that, as a kid, and over years, it seemed like that just kept getting further and further away. I had long since, I realized that I was going to have to play the long game with this, Then a few years ago, TTSA came in, and basically all these miracles started happening in terms of getting access to UFO information, not just TTSA, but all of these weird things. Like the last few years have been the last 5 years have been the best years to be a ufologist.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of the guys that'll be watching this now will be like, well, they've only released them free bits of footage, but they don't realise about all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes with the documents and the stories and the stuff that's coming out that is actual just general information. But you as a ufologist, we had this argument earlier where you call it uologist. What do you call it? Ufologist.
Urology is
and I say ufologist, like a dickhead. But I'm not a ufologist.
It's not a sexy name. It's not.
It's a made-up name. Let's face it, it's a made-up. It's now a made-up name.
It's jury-rigged, and you know what? The CIA probably came up with that as a way to befuddle us as well.
But you definitely are one, and it's. I'm gunning for this more for you, man. Now.
Yeah, some of us have quite a bit invested in this.
Yeah, I can see that. Which I hope at some point, DeLonge will see this video and go, I'm going to get in touch with Osvaldo Franco. I'm going to take him for a beer.
I hope so, man. Debrief me, please. I deserve it. I need to know.
And then you can just say to him when you're having that beer, I said, Tom, I love you to pieces. I think you're doing a great job. But for fuck's sake, stop showing that triangle UFO.
Yeah, I know. He's got to stop with that, man. Like, oh my God, just the real stuff. Just the real stuff, please.
Yeah.
So one of the movies comes out, then you can use CGI.
So before we stop this video, because we're going to be doing another one very soon, have you got anything else to say on Unidentified, the TV series?
Well, not particularly. And it hasn't been said. Well, yes, there is. Okay. They're saying that in Unidentified, there is a bigger politician than Harry Reid who goes on camera and discuss this with Tom DeLonge. Or they have a quote from him on camera. Now, as I said before, Harry Reid was the head of the Senate, which is a very, very powerful body in Washington. Now, a politician that is a higher rank than Harry Reid, that could be Hillary Clinton, which isn't impossible. Could be, a vice president of ours, or former president. And the thing is that if you go back and you research some of the things Tom DeLonge said a few years ago, back when they were starting to film these things, he said that he got Obama to go on camera and make a statement. Now,
DeLonge did?
Yes, he did. fingers crossed. So we might actually have a former president of the United States. Fingers crossed. Somebody.
Osvaldo, why could we not have started the video with this? You could have said this at the start.
Surprise!
I might have to do a one-off little advertisement. Barack Obama.
Yeah, Delonge said this. He said he got POTUS on camera talking about the subject, and he did it when he was showing pictures of himself in Washington with John Podesta. There's also somebody that's going to be spoken to in this documentary series. There's actually footage of him clipped in with the promo put out by Delonge.
I feel like we need to have like some sort of bet going on here if we're going to see Barack Obama talking in this video.
I hope so. Like if it's bigger than Harry Reid, then that's very few people. Very few people who like I don't care what country you're from, you've heard their names, you know who they are. That would be very, very nice. That'd be really special.
Osvaldo, 1 second.
Pardon?
Who is Harry Reid?
Who is Harry Reid?
According to Wikipedia, Harry Mason Reid is a retired American politician who served as a United States Senator from Nevada from 1987 to 2017.
There we go. Just for anybody who didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I did. I didn't. Or did I? That's the question. Anyway, fella, it's been amazing having you on, and we'll do another show very soon. Are you going to be able to do maybe kind of, I would say reviews, but discussions as and when the videos are out?
Oh, hell yes. Yeah. Absolutely. That's like, my God, dude. You should do that immediately, like within minutes of the airing.
I'd have to go live for that. It's not something I do often, but maybe I could. I just have to work it out. Anyway, man,
yeah.
It's been...
No, I'm good to go, dude. Trust me. Once I see that, I'm gonna have a bunch of wonderful things to say or a bunch of horrible things to say.
Hopefully wonderful.
Yeah, I'm betting on that right now.
Osvaldo Franco, been emotional, brother.
Always, my man. I'll speak to you later.
I'll catch you later, mate.